Now at 9, Joplin manufacturer Boyd Metals announces an expansion, creating new jobs. Plus, how Mercy Hospital's infection unit is preparing for the winter virus season. And we check out all the fun at Fort Scott's Downtown Fall Fest.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tanya Bach. A second man has died from injuries suffered in a crash involving a semi-truck and a pickup last Friday. The semi was trying to pass the pickup from behind on Highway 166 west of Baxter Springs when the pickup attempted a left turn. A passenger in the pickup, 58-year-old Jeffrey Sappington of Quapaw, Oklahoma, died at the scene. Now the driver of the pickup has died at the hospital. He is 54-year-old Jeffrey Landsaw of Galena, Kansas. The semi-driver was not hurt. A West Mineral, Kansas man is heading to prison after multiple run-ins with the law. Most recently, 46-year-old Sean Galloway barricaded himself in a camper in Weir, Kansas in July when law officers tried to arrest him for multiple outstanding warrants. Now he gets a 14-month prison term for interfering with law enforcement. Local health providers prepare to battle seasonal illnesses, including COVID. Experts say this uptick is the new normal in a world with COVID as an endemic disease. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
Through time, we can identify patterns, and with this graph by the CDC, we can see a pattern of peak times for COVID-19 new hospital admissions nationally. Statewide for Missouri, it reflects the same forming pattern. COVID season is here.
COVID has not gone away. We have been seeing a bit of a spike in our COVID numbers already. We're starting to see a few flu cases. RSV is an expectation, within the next probably few weeks.
With the first FDA-approved RSV vaccine now available for anyone 60 years or older, Nurse Stokes says it's perfect timing for RSV peak season that starts in November. But the RSV vaccine isn't the only vaccine updated for the upcoming season.
This year, they're not calling it a booster. They are calling it the updated COVID vaccine. So it is very targeted to the XBB variant family. And that is what is circulating in our community. We see that in the watershed reports that we get for our areas.
Nurse Stokes says the vaccines are the best defense and is most effective when given before peak season hits. However, the CDC are preparing for the worst.
Listening to the information from CDC, they are anticipating a peak again, possibly in January.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
As the newest COVID vaccine becomes more available, Nurse Stokes says the availability will most likely be at retail pharmacies or health departments. Historic downtown Fort Scott brought fall to life this evening. The area Chamber of Commerce was at the forefront of today's festivities. Community members were invited to come support local businesses, listen to live music, and get into the swing of the fall season. Missouri Southern faculty and students took over this month's third Thursday. The event offered students the opportunity to experience the Joplin community and engage with those who support them, while community members were able to get a look into what students are involved in and how they stay occupied throughout the year.
I just love how everybody's very open. You can just talk to somebody that you don't even know, and it's just comfortable. And then you get to see a lot of different students as well. I've seen a lot of people from my classes that I definitely have never talked to, but now we're having conversations. So I think it also puts people a little bit out of their comfort zone, which is really good.
The next third Thursday will be held on October 19th. Well, if you love big trucks, Joplin is definitely the place to be this weekend. The Truckers Jamboree rolled into town today. The event features hundreds of show trucks, truck and tractor pulls, a demolition derby, food trucks, and much more. For one truck presenter, the event is a labor of love.
I grew up around it my whole life. I used to customize my Hot Wheels. I used to customize my Tonka truck and everything. I had to be different than anybody else. I'd want straight pipe on my Tonka truck. I'd go get a piece of copper tubing and pop rivet up back on my cab and everything to have what I wanted.
The trucking Jamboree is partnering with another trucking event across the street called Guilty by Association, and they had a concert tonight. Students from Pineview Elementary School had the chance to dive into a tour of the Turtle Hospital in Florida. Through a video call, they explored the hospital and learned about their permanent residents. Students also had the chance to meet Montel, the turtle they adopted. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the story.
Montel, an adult green sea turtle, has been through a lot. She was entangled in a fishing lane, was hit by a boat, and attacked by a shark. She also has tumors growing on her soft tissue. In 2001, she was rescued in Avalon, Florida, and is now a permanent resident of the Turtle Hospital. This semester, she gained a four-state connection. Montel was adopted by students from Pineview Elementary School. The students raised $35 to support the turtle's rehabilitation and care.
Animals that can't take care of themselves when then something's wrong, I think it's nice of them to take care of them because they're doing something good to protect those who can't.
Besides receiving a certificate of adoption and getting monthly updates on Montel, the students also had the chance of seeing their turtle and others on a virtual tour at the Turtle Hospital. The tour was part of their math and science class, which are diving deep into this year's school theme, Under the Sea. The learnings from the activity will be taken to the classroom.
7th grade talks about percentages, they talk about ratios. So we will talk about Montel's weight compared to turtles in the wild that are green turtles. We will use our graphing skills to find the longitude and latitude of where he would have went if he wasn't a permanent resident at the hospital.
And to their lives.
Use biodegradable straws and stuff and make sure if I see a piece of trash or something, I throw it away. That way that they don't get into the oceans because then it can harm the turtles, and we don't want that.
Showing them the personal connection that they had to Montel, and then saying, hey, Montel could have died eating plastic. And then it's a personal interest for them.
In Pineview, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
You can also adopt a turtle for $35 a year. Find more information on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Missouri Governor Mike Parson joined Boyd Metals in Joplin today to help announce their upcoming expansion. Since opening in 1991, Boyd Metals' Joplin location has undergone 2 previous expansions. Their third, set to finish construction in the summer of 2024, will add 50,000 square feet. And with this expansion comes improved safety conditions for workers, more storage room, and 12 new positions, opening up much-needed jobs to local citizens.
Just they saw the need here, the business level that we do, and the space limitations that we had. They just felt like this was where they needed to, and they felt like we had the team in place to make the expansion happen.
Boyd Metals invited government officials and employees to sign a beam used in construction to commemorate the event. Well, coming up, where firefighters can turn to for help when their trauma box is at its limit. Some extra help for area first responders. A peer-to-peer support team is available to Springfield firefighters who need it. Chris Bryant explains how it works.
The peer support team at the Springfield Fire Department started in 2017 with 30 members. It came full circle when one of those founding members switched roles and reached out for help.
I didn't realize at some point I was going to need the help equally. So I've been very fortunate to get both sides of it.
For retired Captain Uli Goulet, mental health support in the fire department was something he knew was needed. He reached out for help following a deadly house fire in July of 2021.
It was a house fire right near shift change, about 6:30 in the morning, and a mother and 3 children had passed away. And this job puts you seeing a lot of death. And I knew after that, things just weren't the same.
A year later, at another fire,
I had what later was determined to be a panic attack. I thought I was having a heart attack. And it was at that point that I actually reached out and said, I can't do this anymore.
And knowing when to walk away from a career for the betterment of himself, his team, and the community.
I had to have that mind shift of start strong, finish strong, start strong, know when to walk away. Because I can't be endangering my crew, the public, and myself if I'm not 100% into this game.
At its core, the peer support team is there for anyone, no matter what need and no matter who you are.
It never surprises me anymore. We all need help. You cannot physically see and do the things that we do on a regular basis and not need to vent about it. It's too heavy to carry.
And having the support from the city and headquarters shows dedication to the program.
They've always been 100% on board. They've helped facilitate everything. They're all on board. They completely recognize the benefit to this program.
Even the sound of tones can be a trigger.
You know what's going to happen. You don't know if it's for you or for who. You don't know if it's going to be an easy call or a hard call. It just spike, boom.
Having those tough conversations with their peers can help knock down the stigma when it comes to mental health, even in the fire department.
So talking about it in cases like this helps open those doors, because somebody on our department will probably see this and be like, I can call Uli.
Ultra-processed foods like frozen pizza, French fries, and cookies could be linked to depression in women. A new study published Wednesday in the journal JAMA Network Open examined the diets of nearly 32,000 middle-aged women. The study did not include any men, so the results cannot be generalized. When the researchers looked at specific ultra-processed foods and drinks, also known as UPFs, only those made with artificial sweeteners were associated with an increased risk of depression. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later we'll hear from the Pitt State Gorillas as they look to stay undefeated, taking on Nebraska Kearney this weekend. Thanks, Doug. Coming up, making the case for more support.
Around Washington, and he's hoping the U.S. delivers even more to his country. I'm Rebecca Castor in Washington with a look at that visit coming up.
Striking United Auto Workers rally at the parent company of Jeep as the union prepares to expand its strike. Workers hit the picket lines outside of Stellantis U.S. headquarters in Auburn Hills, Michigan yesterday, where more layoffs are expected. UAW President Shawn Fain says he will call for new walkouts Friday unless there's serious progress toward agreements with General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis.
I want the levels to be balanced. I want everyone to make a good living and a fair living. If I'm working on one side of the line and I'm making $30 and the person across from me is making $15 an hour, how is that fair?
Fain has given the automakers until Friday at noon to come to the table with a better contract, or more workers will walk out. Union workers are demanding higher wages and a shorter work week from the big three automakers. Well, the ripple effects of those strikes have reached Kansas City. The General Motors Fairfax assembly and stamping plant there is now idled. Brian Johnson has more.
Anna's BDL Bistro is less than a mile and a half from GM Fairfax and UAW Local 31. Her diner isn't involved in the labor dispute, but she's feeling the impacts.
It goes from them and then filters backwards, kind of like, that's kind of how I look at it. Because whatever happens to them, then it affects everybody else.
Workers delivering supplies to the plant often eat at Anna's. This is the third strike she's seen in 12 years.
Just manage, we just roll with it.
The Kansas Department of Labor says unemployment provides between $147 and $589 for up to 16 weeks to workers who qualify. A spokesperson says picketing workers don't qualify, but employees who are furloughed often do.
I think it's time for us to compensate the people who build the cars that you guys are making all the billions off of. So that's simple.
Wednesday, union workers were caught off guard to learn the plant sent them home. The 2,000 union workers are ready to strike, but we're still building cars while asking for higher wages.
It's out of fairness. We've given up a lot in the last contracts and everything, and we haven't got anything back. And nothing's gotten easier in there. Actually, things have gotten harder.
Oh, I want the workers to get what they want.
Howell says she's with the workers. She expects the stoppage to last 2 or 3 weeks, then return to business as usual.
Hollywood writers and production studios are in talks for the first time in nearly a month, signaling a possible resolution to the writers' strike. TV and film writers have been on strike nearly 5 months now, pushing for increased pay and more security around the use of artificial intelligence. Reports say CEOs from some of the major studios were in the room for the latest talks. Up next, Crayola announces a new venture that's just as colorful as their crayons. Crayola is known for its multicolored crayons, but now the company also wants to be known for its colorful flower selection. Tuesday, the crayon maker announced the launch of Crayola Flowers, an online flower shop that sells bouquets and boxed flowers. But the new shop also has a higher purpose. The company says the site will double as a fundraiser platform, with 10 to 50% of sales going to charity. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. With a shutdown deadline approaching, lawmakers are rushing to pass a government funding bill. Plus, Ukraine's president delivers a message to U.S. lawmakers asking for more support for his country in its war against Russia. The country is teetering closer to a government shutdown at the end of the month after Republicans failed to coalesce and support their own defense funding bill. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera reports from Washington.
The yeas are 212, the nays are 216. The resolution is not adopted.
Another defeat for Republicans in the House. A bill to fund the Pentagon failed to advance for the second time this week, blocked once more by far-right conservatives.
This is a whole new concept of individuals that just want to burn the whole place down.
It's a stunning reversal from the optimism that Speaker Kevin McCarthy had conveyed earlier on Thursday, when he signaled he had won over some holdouts. But lawmakers who rejected the procedural vote on the defense bill are frustrated with what they see as runaway spending in Washington and are employing hardline tactics to get their demands.
The people back in my district, they're tired of the way this town works. They understand there's no appetite to quit spending money we don't have.
The divisions don't bode well for a separate short-term resolution that Republicans had hatched over the weekend. It would fund the government on an interim basis, cut spending, and beef up border security. However, some GOP members think the proposal doesn't go far enough. In a Truth Social post, former President Trump encouraged them not to back down, saying in part, Republicans in Congress can and must defund all aspects of crooked Joe Biden's weaponized government. With Republicans at a standstill, some say a government shutdown is all but certain.
Well, unless McCarthy can rein his most extremist MAGA faction in, it's inevitable.
House members who were originally told to stay in D.C. for potential votes are now being told to go home for the weekend. It's unclear what this means for funding negotiations. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
The Biden administration is granting temporary legal status to nearly 500,000 Venezuelan migrants who are already in the U.S. The move comes as the number of border crossings returns to near record levels. Federal officials closed the point of entry in Eagle Pass, Texas yesterday due to a surge of asylum requests. Ukraine's president is on a lobbying tour in the nation's capital today to make his case for more aid, meeting with members of Congress. The president. Many Republican lawmakers think this sort of open-ended commitment to the war-torn country is unsustainable. Fox's Rebecca Castor has that story from Washington.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky making the rounds on Capitol Hill Thursday for his second visit to ask for more money to support the war efforts in Ukraine.
What's your message?
But this time, Congress is not rolling out the red carpet.
Zelensky asked for a joint session. We just didn't have time.
It's a striking contrast to his visit a year ago, when lawmakers dressed in yellow and blue stood in support with the war hero. But now concerns over the cost of the ongoing war are growing in Congress, with Republicans dueling over funding.
I think it's irresponsible to think about their country before I think about my country.
But if you want to pull out of Ukraine, you're leading to more war, not less.
The Wall Street Journal reports more than 24 Republicans are now opposing future aid. They signed a letter to the White House Thursday asking for an exit strategy. The Biden administration has asked for an additional $24 billion to support Ukraine. Over the last year, the U.S. has sent about $113 billion.
I think everybody recognized when they kicked off this counteroffensive that it could be a long slug, that it could be tough.
An August Fox News poll finds that overall, Americans are still strongly in support of helping Ukraine, but 36% say we should be doing less. Zelensky will also meet with President Biden this afternoon. The two are expected to discuss strategy on the battlefield. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Now, a bit later, how some retail giants are filling thousands of seasonal positions in time for the holiday season. Thanks, Doug. Coming up in sports, Pittsburgh State football prepares for its home game this Saturday. Plus, two of the top volleyball teams in the state of Missouri square off. Brock Baldridge has the highlights in sports.
The Pitt State Gorillas are coming off of a remarkable 1-point win on Saturday at Central Missouri. And this weekend, the Pittsburgh State will return to their home field for the first time in over a month.
You come out of that game on Saturday and thankful that you came out on top, learn a lot about yourself through the course of that game, certainly, and then go back to work all week, on the things that we definitely have to improve, and there were a lot of those things.
Watching back on the film, we were displeased by the way we played on defense. We had a lot of penalties and a lot of missed assignments, so we look forward to correcting those assignments and looking forward to really correcting the mistakes and taking the next step as a defense as a whole.
I just asked that all the tickets that were sold, that they all show up in the seats, and get out of the parking lot and the tailgate and all that and come to the game and be really, really loud and really show the environment that we know we're more than capable of having here at Pitt State.
And there's only 4 weeks left of high school volleyball in the state of Missouri. And tonight, two of the top teams in the COC meet for a big matchup. Winner will take over first place in the conference. Junction is back home with a 10-2 record, hosting the 16-2 Nixa Eagles. Starting with the first set, it's going to be Carissa Chase, who keeps it within the paint for the kill. CJ's up early in the first set, but Nixa answers quickly with a kill by Taylor Wood. And later in the first set, Nixa's going to find Taylor Wood again. She takes something off of it and finds the open floor. Nixa goes on to win the first set. Then in the second set, Kylie Scott, who's one of the top women's basketball players in the area, but her volleyball game, well, that didn't look too shabby there either. Scott with the kill there. Then CJ goes back to Carissa Chase as she hammers that one for the kill. But Nixa, well, they're just a little too much in this match. Set point now, Abigail Wilson with a nice dig there, but Chase puts a little too much on it as it goes out of bounds, and Nixa wins the second set. Junction puts on a good showing, but it's Nixa who comes away victorious 3-0. The Webb City softball team has been on a little bit of a skid recently. However, Cardinals are back to their home field the first time in over a week, hosting COC rival Republic. Webb City versus Republic, pretty even COC matchup here. Top of the second inning, no score. Republic will strike first with an RBI double. That one's going to go off of the wall. Addison Walker will score. Tigers lead early 1-0. To the third inning now, Republic is up 3-0, but Lainey Taylor stops the bleeding there as she gets a big strikeout to end the inning. So here come the Webb City bats. Kylie Sargent hits this one deep, but it'll stay in the ballpark just off the wall. Sydney Strickland will round third and come home to score. 3-1 game, Cardinals trail. A few batters later, Carson Canhoon hits this off the shortstop's ankle for another run to come in to score. Cardinals starting a rally now, but still trail 3-2 later in the inning. Bases loaded, and Riley Haynes works a walk to tie the game. Webb City goes on to put up a big offensive performance as they beat Republic 12-3. Well, we go from the Webb City Cardinals to the St. Louis Cardinals. And for St. Louis, the postseason seems out of chase right now, but the Cards still look like they have an impact on the NL Central in the race between the Cubs and the Brewers. Cardinals versus Brewers, third inning now, no score. Blake Perkins turns on that one. That ball's going to go a long way out of here. Solo home runs, 1-0 Brew Crew. Top of the sixth inning now. Milwaukee leads 2-0. Andrew Monastero, RBI single. Another run will come in to score. It's now 3-0 Milwaukee. Next batter at the plate is going to be Victor Carantini. Carantini steps up and he unloads on that pitch, and that is trouble. Carantini earned his cold one tonight. 3-run homer. 6-0 Brewers. On the mound for Milwaukee was Wade Miley. He's dealing in this one. Strikes out Newpar there, and then Juan Yepez goes down strikes. Brewers shut out the Cardinals as they win it 6-0. Week 3 of the NFL kicks off tonight. Thursday Night Football as the New York Giants visit the San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara, California. The 49ers looking to stay undefeated. Last check, at the end of the first half, it was the 49ers who lead the Giants at halftime 17-6. I know it's big for head coach Brian Wright for Pitt State. He wants to get the fans out there. You know, a lot of fans like the tailgate for a little bit, but he wants them in the stands, ready to go.
And is this game going to be at 7 or is it in the afternoon?
It is in the afternoon, 2 p.m.
All right, so we've got a change.
Yes,
there.
we do. Yeah.
All right, that's exciting. We'll be back with several retail giants are looking to fill thousands of seasonal positions in time for the holiday season, but some are not looking for as many new hires as they have in previous years. Amazon, Target, and Macy's have released their holiday hiring plans. Jen Sullivan looks at what the plans reveal about the state of the U.S. economy and consumer spending habits.
This holiday season, Santa may have fewer helpers. According to an estimate from the firm Challenger Gray & Christmas, U.S. retailers are expected to add just 410,000 seasonal positions for this year's holiday shopping season, which would mark the lowest seasonal hiring total since 2008. As some economists predict, shoppers will splurge less this year and hold on to their extra cash.
It's going to be relatively flat here, maybe within 1% or 2% of what we had last year.
Delinquency rates for credit cards and auto loans are rising. Student loan payments are restarting. People are running out of the excess savings that they had.
But despite that, many retailers are still eager to hire and get additional help this holiday season. Target said it's keeping its holiday hiring plans at 100,000. Macy's is looking to make more than 38,000 holiday hires. That's 3,000 fewer people than last year, according to the estimate from Challenger Gray & Christmas.
The holidays are always a very, very busy time for us.
So far, Amazon is the only major retailer to announce it's increasing its seasonal hiring this year, saying it's adding 250,000 employees ahead of the holiday season, making it the largest ever holiday workforce for Amazon. It's also bumping up the average pay to $20.50 an hour, hoping to lure in new workers across the country.
We want to make sure that we do have the staff to be able to meet customer demand, especially around the holidays. Definitely important for us to meet that hiring need.
Coming up, Jeannie Moose dives into the story of a trio of friends who helped out at an unstaffed hotel. Last night, we brought you a story about a group of hotel guests who decided to help out when there was no one in charge of the inn. Now, in case you missed it, one of our favorite storytellers, Jeannie Moose, gives us her spin on the trio of travelers who temporarily stepped in to help run a deserted hotel.
What's a guest to do when you want to check in at the inn, but everybody's out?
So we were, saying hello, good morning, anybody there?
A merry trio of 3 best friends.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Tried to check into rooms reserved at the Nashville airport La Quinta Inn at 5 a.m.
Good morning.
They ended up manning the phones and dealing with irate guests.
We have this lady in the lobby screaming about the fact that her card was charged $600.
Since all 3 work in the service industry, dealing with guests came naturally.
And we're like, oh, we're so sorry,
We're apologizing and we don't even work there.
Oh, God, not the phone again.
Kenzie Brooks found the general manager's phone number and called, but the GM said she was at a convention in California. By 6 a.m., it was time for breakfast, so they served it.
Everybody was filling up in the lobby saying, where's the food?
I found the keys and opened the kitchen. Oh, the cereal bar. They would love that.
So breakfast went pretty well, right?
Oh, very well. Yeah, they were very happy.
A regular employee arrived around 8 a.m., but before he could check them in...
He is going to have the audacity to say, okay, well, it's going to be a $25 resort fee.
Finally, the manager of a nearby Holiday Inn showed up, thanked the exhausted trio, and gave them a room. They opened the door.
And there's a naked woman inside.
The parent company, Wyndham Resorts, told CNN this incident occurred due to a staff member prematurely leaving an overnight shift, not notifying management. The employee was fired. To thank the 3, they were given several nights free stay at the Wyndham Resort of their choice. They choose Las Vegas, where maybe they can call the front desk rather than take calls from in front of it. Jeannie Most, CNN.
Did anyone tip you?
No.
I feel like we need to hear more about this unwanted guest in their new room, though. All right, that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We leave you with video of lion cubs at a Czech zoo. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.